taking on Sami Zayn, CM Punk, start off this whole night. You know what? I thought that this went by fast. Now it's this 2 hour and everything just kind of went at a really good pace, which I really did like. This tag team match felt like they went really, really fast, really hard. Tag team match that was like crazy. It was just brawling. They did some moves on the inside. A lot of guys getting knocked to the outside. There really wasn't anything massive to write home about with this. CM Punk's first match since WrestleMania, which was kind of cool. But we got to talk about the finish because we had the return of Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed came out towards the very end of the match. He took out CM Punk through the barricade, which was an awesome spot. It left Sami Zayn isolated. They got the victory. Braun Breaker, Seth win, and they beat Sami Zayn and CM Punk. I think this was the right move to do. I've said this in previews, predictions, whatever, but I thought that the two of them really needed to win because you want to keep them strong as this new group. In the post-match you saw, they had CM Punk going and grabbing Paul Heyman's foot, trying to grab onto him, and that wasn't going to work. Bronson Reed came in, started just taking splash, Mr. Punk, and then he went to the top, and he did a tsunami on the CM Punk. It looked nasty, too. Crowd was great. Crowd was very hot for this. They chanted one more time. He needed to get in on CM Punk, and he chanted for it, but he didn't do it. Well, then we had, now we have a three-man group for this thing, and we've got Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins, Zayn. That was the big one that I think was going around, was that we thought maybe Sammy was going to turn on Punk at the end of this thing. But I felt like, man, this thing went at like a really good, fast pace. Bronson Reed showing up, glad he's back from injury. This is an amazing spot for him. I wonder what it means overall for this group. Are they going to have more people, more members, just keep making this thing bigger and bigger? Well, here's one question I do have for you is, where do you think they go next?
Yeah,
what do you think they're going to do?
That's the problem.
Do you think that this
shit ain't, it's not as intriguing as the bloodline?
Maybe Roman Reigns. Could we see a six-man tag team match of Punk,
On CC, BB, Juan, CC, BB.
Sammy, and Roman going up against this trios at Money in the Bank? There's Night of Champions, and there's SummerSlam. Could this be saved for SummerSlam as a six-man tag? I'm not too sure. I kind of like to see if they could maybe things along. Get Roman back for Money in the Bank. It'd be a great spot to have him in. Do a six-man. Get the bad guys to win again. I actually like to see them keep building this thing. I love the direction they are doing. This was just funny. I like this as the opener. The next match, you had Zelina Vega versus Chelsea Green for the Women's United States Championship. A fun surprise that they added this match in there. I love Chelsea. I'll take her every single week on TV. It's all good. This match, while short, like a lot of the show, because of just, you got a tight time frame in there, I thought it was fun and enjoyable. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of a mess up where you had Zelina trying to do a kick through the ropes to Chelsea, and clearly busted her nose, and might have even broken her nose. It was shooting gushing blood there, man. But nothing crazy. Like, this is very much like on par for any match they would put on like SmackDown. So I have problems with it. I'm glad they got one of the women's matches on the card that night, and it really helped to round it out. It's kind of funny, isn't it? You get like a 3-hour PLE, you can only get like 5 matches. On a 2-hour network special, 5 matches. So I know they did kind of speed run through this thing. There's Code Red on the top rope, and Zelina Vega retains the US title. Where are we gonna go? This is like what I often just wonder about is, okay, this was great. Now, where do you think what is the next direction for Zelina, for the champion? Where do they go from here? Are they going to keep revisiting Chelsea? I really wish Chelsea was getting into Money in the Bank, but obviously I don't see that happening. She lost the qualifying match. I just wish that she got like the US title, honestly. Maybe they could draft Chelsea and maybe move her over to Raw, go after the IC title, or even go after the world title. Something to shake it up a little bit. But when it comes to this division, this part of it, the US title division, who else is in there that they could really, I don't know, roll up to Zelina? Candice LeRae is big baddie now with DIY. Maybe you want Candice to go after the US title and start something up there. But they need to add more. Like, they need to have more stories going in and not just throwing matches together. I don't like it when they just kind of chuck stuff in there. It's great to have a rematch for the US title. This was a lot of fun. But I wonder what they're going to do next with both of these people. Okay, then we have John Cena, your 17-time champion, going up against Ron Cena, R-Truth. He came out to John Cena's theme, so Cena comes up first with the belt. Oh, by the way, I love Saturday Night's Main Event setup. I just like that old aesthetic and feel where the crowd is right there with like the barricade. It's really fun. I just like how they have that simple stripped down entrance. It's one of my favorites. But you get Cena coming out first. This is a non-title match, go figure. And so then once Cena enters the ring, Lillian Garcia does the introductions properly, and then you've got Ron Cena coming out. He's all decked out in his own John Cena-esque gear. I really like how R-Truth did this. The crowd, for this short and sweet match that they did have, was very much pro-Cena. I think we're seeing more and more of this, and I kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit about John Cena's like kind of future direction here in a minute. But anyways, this match, nothing wild. I thought that we're going to get a little bit more story to help flesh out John Cena's heel character. We're going to get glimpses of Cena going face. But out of all of this, what did we get? We got John Cena doing shoulder tackles slowly, kind of like we did to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Then you had R-Truth do to him, trying to nail everything. He nailed an attitude adjustment onto John Cena, but that wasn't enough. STF on John Cena. It was a fun back and forth, but it was just, man, it was just so short. Like, it really, really was. Cena goes, once they're on the outside, they come back in, you know, Cena grabs the belt, and he's going to hit R-Truth with the title to get the DQ, but he pauses. Truth turns around, like Cody did at WrestleMania. It's like they redid WrestleMania match, but short. So they Cena pauses, right, with the belt, which is an interesting thing to do, where he wasn't going to pull the trigger on this. So then he gives the belt over to the referee, and as the referee, it was kind of perfectly timed too, because as the referee just turned, he just hits Mr. R-Truth right in the low area, unfortunately. His attitude adjustment, 1, 2, 3. R-Truth loses. John Cena, well, I was going to say retains, but it wasn't on the line. John Cena wins, and then as they're doing the celebration, John Cena cuts everything short. Then he grabs the title belt, and he hits R-Truth with the belt, and John Cena exits, and that was it. This was exactly what I expected it to be. What about you? Did you think you were going to get more or less, felt the same? I thought this was pretty much on par. I like the hesitation with the belt, because they did the low blow following it, so that it kind of throws you off as a viewer of like, oh, you think John Cena is maybe having some, reservations about being a heel? No. He's leaning into it still. The crowd was very much in favor of John Cena. Even as Cena left, they're chanting, "Thank you, Cena, for taking out R-Truth." So it's a lot of pro-Cena. And this is the thing. This is what I wanted to talk about, too, with this whole angle that they're doing with Cena as a heel. With the next steps of all of this, getting into the bigger programs. Like, now we've done the R-Truth piece. Okay, that's done. Now you start moving into Money in the Bank. You're moving into Night of Champions, SummerSlam, and beyond. Is the crowd going to cheer for John and boo Cody Rhodes? I don't know. But if John Cena keeps being entertaining and not being like Mr. Anti-Wrestling like he was with Cody at Mania, they might have to really be careful with how they present this and how they do this. Then we've got this. They start just going after each other, and then Drew grabs some steel chairs and brings those inside the cage. This was...
If a Bitcoin was the size of a quarter, all 21 million of that would fit inside a single shipping container. To fit the dollars the Fed prints on average every day, you need 72 shipping containers. Each year, you'd need 26,280 containers. And to fit what they printed in the last decade, they need a lot more than that.
Ashley, Snip's Chevy Bella Performance Fabric. You don't care about wax. These pieces are easy to clean, and some styles feature machine washable covers. Discover next gen Bella and Ashley.
Hey, it's Saturday Night's Main Event, so it's not a penalty, and it's not going to be over the top crazy, but it did have some good moments, good spots in here. I did like that they did a superplex from the top of the steel cage, a lot of good back and forth. It was hard hitting. These two do have really good chemistry. I think I'm just kind of done with the feud, and I'm glad that this does. I think even Michael Cole said that on commentary, like, hey, this is the final match, or this is the blow-off for this. It's a steel cage match. So this should mean this is the end of it. As we got through towards the end of it, though, we did see like Drew try to go for the Claymore with the steel chair, like the spot that they did at WrestleMania. He misses that. You have South of Heaven being done by both guys. Priest nails South of Heaven onto Drew McIntyre. The big moment here was the finish. Was going to be Priest grabbing the chair and doing a concerto onto Drew McIntyre and nailing him with it. It was an awesome spot, and I loved how vicious it was. A great spot. The great thing too is even Michael Cole referencing Edge. He used his name. It was fascinating that they did that. Confirmed Edge is coming back, but they did confirm and say that like, hey, this is all done by Priest's original mentor or whatever from his first big from Judgment Day, or OG Judgment Day, the very first one that they had. They did that spot. So I like that callback. That was great about they dropped Edge's name on there. And then you had Priest walk out of the cage, and this upset Jesse Ventura to no end. Jesse would not let this go at all. As the match ended, Priest walks out of the cage, and Jesse just starts losing it in commentary the whole way through. Michael Cole kept trying to interrupt to clarify for him that, like, you can do that. He did not like that at all. Even when they came back from commercial break, Ventura is just like, I'm not having this. What are you doing? Why did you walk out of the cage? And Priest is a good guy here. Priest walks out, he wins, and he's getting there, he's celebrating. And Ventura's just going off, being like, I don't know why he was walking out. What a buffoon. So, like, he's just destroying Priest's credibility as a good guy who wins the steel cage match. But anyways, I thought that was just an awesome moment. And then you do have Drew McIntyre still inside the steel cage. You're bringing the stretchers and everybody trying to help Drew out. Wondering is, there's nothing wrong with it. But he did that with Punk, came back, goes to SmackDown, and then starts this thing up with Damian Priest. Now they finally culminated, it's done. I really don't know what to do with either guy. I feel like Priest is just going to be propelling in the U.S. title scene. I don't want to see that for Drew McIntyre, honestly. I really like Drew. I like to see him move up. Maybe at some point he can try to challenge John Cena. I know I think there's still some spots left in Money in the Bank, so maybe Drew gets a qualifying match. He'd probably be in there with Damian Priest. Maybe Drew gets into Money in the Bank once again. You never know. And then he could finally find something else to do. But it was a fine steel cage match. This is nothing like over the top. It wasn't bloody or anything. I think Jesse Ventura was the best. He walked out the door. That's great. All right, then it's main event time. You have Logan Paul and Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's a match. We mostly just talk about the ending here, don't we? But I will say Logan Paul, Jey Uso did put on a good match. I like the buckshot lariat. I do think that they had pretty good chemistry. The match was going well. Like, you got moonsaults from Logan Paul. I just thought that, they were putting on a good match. So no real complaints there. It was what it was. I was just more surprised at the finish that we got with this whole thing in the ending. So it looked like we were going to have the match come to an end, and then John Cena comes out and pulls the referee out of the ring, gets in there, and starts beating down Jey Uso. Now, earlier in the night, you did have a moment backstage between Cena and Jey where Cena's like, you're going to lose the world title to a YouTuber? Go figure. So then Cena comes out and gets involved and starts attacking Jey. And I started to think for just half a second, I was like, oh, they're going to do that at like Night of Champions. But then you have Cena beating down Jey, which is cool to see them cross paths. And then Cody's music hits, and Cody Rhodes makes his big triumphant return. He takes out John Cena, and then we have Jey and Cody standing tall against Logan Paul and John Cena, and Cody Rhodes declares that it is going to be a tag team match at Money in the Bank between John Cena, Logan Paul versus Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. What do you think of that? We're one step away from Travis Scott being added to that group, aren't we? Kind of an interesting dynamic of Logan Paul and John Cena. So I'm not against it. I think it would just be interesting to see how they will pull that off and what's the story. More so like what's the finish to that whole thing. But having Cena in a tag team match, I thought inevitably he would get into a tag team match before getting the one-on-one with Cody. Now we're going down that path. I just thought that would maybe be Travis Scott. They could still do that at SummerSlam in the immediate future for Jey Uso to do and Logan Paul. And as I just say that, I just thought, okay, that's happening at Money in the Bank. And then the night after Money in the Bank, you're going to get Gunther versus Jey. So that could be why they are not setting anything up like now Jay Uso. Money in the Bank's also right around the corner. Like, it's, what, 2 weeks away? So it's kind of a hard thing because so many programs going on. Like, so many PLEs and shows just constantly. It's hard for them to push a larger story here. I'm thinking of Jay. So you can see why they would just do this at Money in the Bank. It does make sense. And I kind of wonder after Money in the Bank, are they going to put the title on Money in the Bank winner? Whoever if there is a cash in. I can totally see that happening. But the story of Cody Rhodes coming back, what do you think? Is this too soon? Do you think that you're going to get Cody? He got cheered, and he's over because it's a return, right? But do you think as they build a program again, are they going to get? Is Cody going to get a little boot? Or do you think that maybe he's going to do fine because John Cena and Logan Paul will be together, so you're going to get that heat with Logan Paul, and Jay is so beloved that him with Cody. Maybe that's the whole idea that they're all part of it. That, you know what? Cody and the favor of the fans. Because if you did another string of Cena and Cody, then you run the risk of heel of Cody. Maybe, just maybe, getting booed a little bit. Okay, I'll take a tag team match at Money in the Bank. Obviously, I would love it if it was a one-on-one match with like Cena versus Punk, but Punk is firmly into the other program. I wonder if we'll ever get that match before Cena retires. Just more curious, hey, what are they going to do to end that thing of Money in the Bank? They're 2 weeks away. That's a big match, plus the Money in the Bank matches themselves. What did you think of Saturday Night's Main Event? I got to say, they really did. I think they did a great job. They pulled up a lot of stuff to set up, and I'm curious what's going to happen on Raw and how they're going to move forward into Money in the Bank. So I think it was as good as like just a really beefy Raw, and they told a lot of stories, and there was a lot that did happen, and we got some returns there too. Guys, if you can, subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow here on YouTube. My name is Matt. Have a great night. Have a great day. See ya.
My dicks, so my dicks. On BB, CC, DD, BB.
I hope Cody don't win that shit, man. Yeah, 38, that's all. This nigga Rod waving. Nigga, you're facing life in prison. Shooting up females calling you dumb motherfucker. No, my nigga.
Well, about 7 miles from here, about 2.5 hours ago, Alex Palou won the Indy 500. And not a lot of those folks who were there on this great sports weekend in Indianapolis.
Bad, bitch. My Knicks in 6. Know what the fuck is going down when we see you in a Philly, nigga?
For Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals, the Pacers on top. 2 games to none. Game 3, an hour away on TNT. Pascal Siakam, 39 points in Game 2. That's a postseason career high for him. Karl Anthony Towns on the New York side had 20.
My nigga Karl Anthony Towns going crazy too, though.
Sat for much of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, fucking Thibodeau ass.
Tyrese Halliburton leads a team that is 4-1 at home, 7-0 in the clutch.
It's gonna be 4-2 today, bitch.
Jalen Brunson and the Knicks.
They've not
Never won.
My Knicks not going down 0-3, bitch.
In this building,
What are you talking
they're 0-9.
Big body, nigga.
Game 3 is on the horizon here on TNT. Well, Welcome everybody to TNT NBA Tip-Off, presented by CarMax. Coming to you from the concourse atrium of this.
We got right now, so get up right now. So we got right now.
That's a massive sign for Anthony Edwards.
Edwards knocks it away from Dort. And this time just simply throws it down.
There's 4 turnovers, 9 points up. First time in the series, Minnesota's had that lead.
He led the league in 3-point makes. He's always looking for that angle. Has the elevation, knock it down. And when we talk about the pickup points, look at the aggressiveness. Look at how intense they are. Look, he gave us a little something on the first one, second one. Just put it in and get back on defense. Conserve that energy.
That's a...
Such a bitch. It was Here I Come. That way I'm fun. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Can you get that right?
Trash ass nigga.
My boys, all you don't know. I do Frank Sinatra. I mean, can yours? Hey, so we were watching the Western Conference final last night, and OKC jumps out to a 4-0 lead, and then Minnesota goes 25-5, and it was basically over. They win it 143-101. Here is Jared Greenberg with the Grizzly details.
When we're talking about the best team in basketball having to bounce back from a 42-point beatdown, but for a team that has not lost back-to-back games this postseason, the Thunder are confident in their process as they head into Game 4.
And you're going to take your own blood sometimes, and it's not even the worst thing for you. And we've had a great year. We've been in a lot of games like that, but the team's always done a great job of responding to the emotion of any game, including wins. Let it go and be the best team it can be, and throw our best punch in Game 4.
I mean, if anything, it just hurts your pride a little bit. You know, they all come from life, but, you know, obviously, just as competitors, like, you don't lose games, but especially in that fashion, it's not a lack of respect for the rules. I think they were playing for their lives. We didn't come out with the right mindset. Things that we can control, we didn't control last game, and when you look at it through that lens, it presents itself in a way that you don't need a hidden emergency, but you do need a course correct to get back to who you are. Shaq, drawing from your vast experience, how do games like that happen? A 42-point game in the postseason?
You get comfortable. You know, what I love about the OKC bunch is nothing really messes with their mentals. They look a little really happy after game 2. And they should. Playing well, MVP celebration, all that stuff. But, you know, sometimes you come in and you really think, oh, we got this team, and you don't really focus and you don't take that first punch. That first punch was a knockout, and they went to the hospital, and they're just not waking up this morning.
Well, you know, Ernie, there comes a point in every game where you're on the other end and you're down, let's say 10 or 11, and you say, okay, we're gonna fight. We gotta get back in this game, and we're gonna fight. Then all of a sudden you go to 19, so you go, okay, this is the moment of truth. Are we going to go for it and expend all of this energy, or are we gonna know that we're up 2-1? And that's what happens. And they realize they're like, we're not when they got to 19, they're like, okay, they pulled off the gas, and they're like, okay, this is it. And now it goes to 42 because Minnesota's like, no, we're gonna go win this game. And so that was it. That's a human nature thing. I always say game 3 and 4 is where the stars are made. Yeah. That's where they are, because those are the pivotal games that most of the time ensues. Yeah, you felt it. Look, they're up 35 in the second quarter. When they cut it, and don't laugh, when they cut it to 22 in the third quarter, you made up some ground and you said, you know what, if you get a couple of stops and get this into 20, it might, but never happened.
Well, obviously Minnesota had to play with desperation. They did. And they made a little run in the second half, and like you said, they get to 22, and they're like, okay, let's just go. Let's start getting ready to play the next game. But all the pressure's still on Minnesota. Tomorrow's a must-win for Minnesota. It's not a must-win for OKC. All Minnesota did was get kind of back in the series, but they extended it. So now they have to win tomorrow. But, OKC does not have to win in Minnesota. They can make it a shorter series. But even though Minnesota, and then one thing you have to understand, whether we win by 1 or 40, it don't matter. It's just one game. All the pressure tomorrow is still on the Timberwolves. If they don't win tomorrow, they'll be done game 5.
On the OKC for a game 5 in that series. Earlier in this series, I guess it was it Friday night in New York, where we had Draymond with us, and you were talking about the Minnesota's McHugh Alexander-Walker, but you were having a bit of difficulty with the pronunciation.
Shay's cousin, McKeel Anderson, whatever his name is, Alexander.
Alexander.
I mean, it's all hands on deck, man. It's all hands on deck against OKC. Yeah. What he says? He was laughing at Alexander. Catch your attention. What is it? What is it? Nikhil. Alexander. Nikhil. Is his real name Nikhil? No, his fake name's Nikhil. Boy, somebody just made up some stuff again. Nikhil is not a name.
I thought like in media, they give them that in dictionaries how they have like that pronunciation thing. Maybe he's not reading it, I don't know, but yeah, my name is Nikhil Alexander Walker.
They put a phonetic spell.
Another brother named Diamond Porter. He's not French. And he's not French.
It's Alexander, not Anderson.
I'm just saying
that you have the name.
Nickel was not a name. No, my name is Kelly. Daddy named Nick.
Nikhil Alexander Walker, great player. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. I appreciate you, brother. Good luck today.
A night off.
Good luck tomorrow.
We got some Chuck singing. You can't hit the high notes.
I hate y'all, man. That wasn't singing. That was just we were doing something with the Super Club budget for the WNBA.
Yeah, let's have a list. I'll get rid of your list. I mean, this.
You used to talk like this. You know what? Kimmy,
you sound great now.
Thank you. Kimmy, we should do the whole next episode talking about this. I ain't talking about it. Yeah, it's okay. Let me know what you're going to do. Day off. We'll come back with more. We'll be back with more. You know me like that? That was fun right there. GQ. I know y'all know what that means. Y'all know what that purple outfit wasn't there. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Bro, the level just started and we're already getting overrun. I gotta take these guys out. Build this crossbow tower as fast as possible. I don't even think I have a choice. Quickly. Ooh, that's close, but that should take care of things. Wait, never mind, more guys. I should have saw that coming. Anyway, we can't handle this without a second crossbow tower and maybe a wall to block the enemy's path too. That should hold us. Wait, now we have these big leapers coming? When does it end? This is King Shot, a tower defense and base building strategy game that just came out recently and is already top 5 in strategy games with over 1 million downloads. King Shot combines strategy, exploration, resource management, PvP, and PvE battles, plus a whole lot more. I suggest you give it a try. If you think you have a shot at becoming a king, that is.
Pod's biggest sale in history has been extended. Save up to 30% until June 9th and see why Pods is America's #1 container moving company. Whether you're relocating or renovating, save up to 30% at pods.com today.
Oh, damn, bitch. God damn. Fuck. I think putting that. Putting the motherfucking stars up got me tweak.
the responsibility of your top players to win a game down the stretch. You want to feel the control. We talking about that feeling a little bit.
When you're not in control, you think, oh yeah. I mean, obviously both have been very blessed to be in that position, to be in control of late game situations, games that come down to the wire. And it was definitely a great feeling when you, like you said, have that control. You know, if I go to this set, if I run this, if I get space, I know exactly how this is going to pill out. I know exactly how it's going to pill out. Like, whatever action that I do, I know the reaction.
You win your matchup, and then it's a domino.
And it's a domino effect, you know, and that's a beautiful feeling. And like you said, sometimes, every now and then, you're out there and you're like,
yes,
shit, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right either from, I'm not in rhythm, or you know, if I have a teammate out there that's not in rhythm, but he's on the floor and you're figuring, okay, where do I put him to feel to be best for the other three guys, or the defense has been, you know, they've been nagging me all game and I don't quite have a feeling, but still the ball is in my hands. I still have to make a play, you know, and it's like, where do you get it from? And you get it from past experiences.